Hey guys, it's Mongolian Mindset, and we're gonna be helping one of our members, Yesh, find his personality type. Hey, you don't have to go in any traumas, anything like that. But what do is we'll try and what you say we'll use to triangulate down on your best fit type. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Yash. I'm from Malaysia. This is a country in Southeast Asia, and I'm 23. I'm I've done a degree in architecture, and now I'm currently working as an assistant architect. And I plan to probably continue my studies in architecture later on. Yeah, so this is basically what I do.
Hmm.
Yeah, in a nutshell, who I am.
What got you into architecture?
I think from a very young age, probably maybe 5 or 6, I used to build this kind of structures at home. Like I would take pots and pans and different objects at home,
Hmm.
and then like construct them and arrange them into like a tower and so on. And I always tried to do that. And then maybe 15, 16, I used to try to draw like plans, architectural plans. Like, nothing complex, but I used to do that, imagining like, oh, a penthouse and so on. And then my parents would say, this is what architects do.
Hmm.
So I would uh, I would work on this idea, and then eventually, when it came time for me to pick something, then I picked architecture in comparison to civil engineering. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're between architecture and civil engineering.
Yes.
And what did you like about civil engineering?
I think I always, like I said just now, structures was very fascinating to me. So architecture and civil engineering both deal with buildings and how do you create cantilevers, how do you support this against gravity and so on. So it was a matter of either going with something that's more subjective, where you base things on emotions and design, things like that, or you go with something more objective, let's say mathematics and so on.
Hmm.
So I had to make the call. And, yeah,
Do you find as though you're good at making decisions?
good. I think I require a lot of input before I make a decision.
Hmm.
Like especially I would ask, let's say my mother or my sister, like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Trying to get as much of what their perspective is, and then I'm going to process that, and then from there make a decision.
Charlie, you got anything?
Um, yeah, I was gonna ask you, so you like to get other people's input.
Hmm.
Why is that? Are you concerned of making the wrong decision, or why do you feel like you need other people to give you input?
I think partly yes. I believe I don't have the what word should I use? The facts or the like. I'm not sure what to. I might be missing something, right? If I just give to myself and just say, yeah, this is what I want, or this is the best option, or whatnot. So by surveying, I'm like, I think I'm being more cautious, picking what I really want, and so on.
What are three of your strengths?
Three strengths. I would say the first one maybe determination. So if I put my mind to it, I will go after it until the end. Secondly, something like critical thinking, or I tend to research a lot and really assess the as much data as I can, and then I make choices. So I don't rush into anything. And number three, I think I have a code of ethics or a structure of what is probably good and bad to me, and I live by that almost unconsciously since a young age.
So
Yeah.
how do you know something somebody else says is true or false?
I think I have to ask more questions, and by asking them more questions, and then I try to add things up and see if it makes sense. But I think when I was a lot younger, I tended to survey, like Google it up and what does it say here on this? But nowadays I'm more like I try to process it myself through more questions rather than Googling it.
Mm-hmm.
So do you tend to know what you want, like, other than, getting other people's input, or do you find it difficult to be decisive?
I think I wouldn't say I immediately know what I want, like just off the top, like, oh, I want to be this, because I tend not to just simply declare my wants like that. But I think I'm in the process of getting towards that 100% confirmation. So, for example, I might, okay, this is what I think I want, right? Let's say architecture. This is, yeah, I think I want that. Then I'm going to ask, and are you sure this is really for me? Are you sure? And then over time, it becomes, from 20%, eventually to 80%, and maybe even 100% that I'm very sure that's what I want. And I go towards that always.
And how often do you follow through, like, to accomplish getting what you want?
I think very rarely have I not followed through. Yeah.
Okay.
Any game I play until the end, until I'm the top, whatever.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think I have this art organization that I started,
Mm-hmm.
and this is an organization that I'm trying to come up with a few friends. It's called Art for Thoughts, and I'm trying to just discuss different ideas, wisdom, and those kind of topics. And hopefully, in a couple of years' time, we might expand that organization into different things like podcasts and so on. So I hope that goes forward and then along my career in architecture and also music as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe these three things.
What does life look like for you at 70?
What does life feel? Wow, it's kind of a heavy question right now. 17. I can't say it could be so many things. It could be an altered carbon future, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It could be super crazy, but I think as I develop a common strong foundation of um, structure within myself of what I believe and what I think and so on. No matter how technology grows and so on, I can't say how it's going to be like, but I would say that it should be fine.
What is something you feel insecure about?
I think probably how I come across to others, like the way I look, the way I sound. Yeah, is it off-putting in any way?
Um, So if you had to scale how much you like privacy from 1 to 10, what would it be? Like in your your personal life from strangers.
Probably an 8.
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty high up. I definitely don't want it to be below 5.
Well, you see, so I mean, what does a normal weekend look like for you?
A normal weekend would be music practice, and then probably watching some shows on Netflix or something like that. And yeah, but mostly music because I tend to keep work on weekdays, and then weekends we do music.
Mm-hmm. And what attracts you to music?
I kind of grew up in a household where there was a lot of music because my dad is in Indian classical music, so
Mm-hmm.
he had a lot of tunes going on in the house since day one, and I grew up in that. So I got drawn towards percussions, and because he's in the melody side, he's singing and also plays the harmonium.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to pick up the tabla, and I basically accompany him in a lot of performances or devotional hymns, things like that.
Okay.
What are some things you perceive as wasting time?
Anything that is only going to benefit me in the short term.
What's something that stresses you out?
Mm, I think there is a bit of a analysis paralysis thing sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Besides like okay, performance coming up, then you're like, this is you need to focus and so on. Some part of the trying to analyze, okay, what should I do, and what is the best way and forward, and is this correct and so on. That part can be sometimes a lot more challenging than I guess it needs to be, let's say.
What's something you're trying to work on the most?
I think I'm trying to become more of a balanced individual because I used to focus a lot on what I wanted so much that I would let go of my needs a lot. For example, I would be working at this time, right? Until 4 a.m., 5 a.m. doing my stuff. But nowadays, I'm trying to find a balance where I do achieve my wants, but I do it while preserving my health. That's an important thing for me now.
When you have regrets in life, what do you think they center around?
If I do have regrets, I think it would be not seizing certain opportunities. Like I wanted to do it, but I didn't do it because I was, let's say, scared of the outcome or something like that.
What do you think is a skill that the next generation should know?
One skill. I think a filtration process must be there. You
What?
must know a filtration process to dictate what is right or what is wrong, or what do I want versus what others want. Having a clear um, focus. Yeah, I would nail it down to filtration process in whatever area in their life.
What are some behaviors by others that make you angry?
think laziness is quite a
What
annoying
was
one.
it?
Laziness.
Oh, late. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What is 3 words your friends would use to describe you?
I think one might be something like determination and dedication, as I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think they have told me before. Another one that I've gotten before is independent.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, this one is just a speculation. It could be like somewhat a bit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Not in like a wild way, but very unexpected thoughts or unexpected things. Yeah.
So you want to, what is it? Unexpected? What would you call it?
Yeah. So for example, yeah, unexpected. It's like
Unorthodox?
yeah. That's a better word. Unorthodox. Yeah.
How do you behave when you get angry with people you're like close with?
Nowadays, I'm trying to forgive others because I'm realizing that a lot of issues that I find annoying is actually just projections of my own self and so on. So I'm trying to realize that actually all of us are incomplete and we're all trying to become complete. So that's how I'm trying to cope. But previously, I would start to, let's say, argue or question why they behave this way.
What type of people do you get along easily with?
I think people who are open-minded or understanding enough to talk about, because as soon as I start speaking,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to go into very unorthodox subjects, just like I'm not even trying, but it starts to go very crazy in a way. Then they give me really weird looks, or they're like, "Oh, this is an interesting idea."
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you got anything?
What are your weaknesses?
Weaknesses. I'd probably say the first one deals with what I mentioned earlier about finding a balance. Like for example,
Yeah, you talked about it.
in the in this big performance I just did last night, I was working on it for like say 1 to 2 months. Now, of course, I was improving my skills, but at the same time, I kind of lost weight, and I'm trying to gain weight because of health reasons. So it's always this challenge of trying to meet my wants and needs.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, did you ask 3 weaknesses?
Oh, no. Just what
One.
are your
Okay.
weaknesses?
All right.
Okay. Hmm.
We know your personality type. I'm just curious to ask you questions.
Hmm.
What are some things that make you feel impatient?
Impatient, is it?
Yes.
I think someone who, let's say, is not responding. If they are being very passive or very, if I'm requesting for something and then they're just ignoring or, yeah, that's not responding well, that makes me question, like, why are you behaving this way? Like, what's up? Is there something wrong with me? What's happening here? I want the feedback immediately.
Do you feel paranoid in new environments?
I wouldn't say consciously, no.
No. I know, like for myself, like if I'm in a new environment, like you change, like Like let's say you put me in Europe, my meter's going off like dee, 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 dee. Like I can't relax. Like you put me like where I'm comfortable or what I'm used to, it's just like I'm good, you know. But you throw me in like a new one, it's like dee, 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 like crazy. But that's like a new environment. Like if like me and my friends, let's say we go to a city, a new not a new city, but like we're out of town or something. I'm always on like watch, like more than I would be normally, like looking at everything.
I don't think I'm not really on edge in a new situation. Of course, if there's people around, then it can be a bit socially nerve-wracking. But the location itself might not actually matter.
Yeah. I don't know. Shit, how do you feel about that? In new environment, are you relaxed? What are you?
So yeah,
I guess
I think
it depends on the circumstance. I mean, like I went into a cave and like my mind starts like thinking about it collapsing or like if there was an
Bad shit,
earthquake.
yeah.
Or
That's what I said. My shit's like dee 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 dee. Like yeah, like new shit. I'm like dee 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 dee. Like oh lord, like I'm on the like my butt. Like I'll get my friends would notice that I get more controlling in like new places, new situations. Like the control just like gets even worse. But it's like it is what it is. But Shelly, you done?
yeah, good.
All righty, man. You ready for this?
Yep, let's go.
Okay. So first off, you're talking about imagining structures when you're talking about architecture, things like that, and how you can play it within your mind. I'm gonna hit you for it abstract there. And you talked about the progression of how you chose to be an architecture versus a civil engineer. That's gonna be progression, movement, whatever you want to call it. You talked about TE polling your parents, your sisters on things like, what do you think about this? You run it through them. That's called TE polling. TE uses to survey people's thoughts. So that's in TE thing. You talked about determination. That's an NI thing. Critical thinking with research a lot. That's going to be a TE thing. Code of ethics. What is good or bad to me? So that's not actually ethics. That's actually morals because it's to use singularly. It's not ethics would be like a group or like what the group decides. So that's going to be FI there. Very rarely do I not follow through. That's going to be a chart the course thing / finisher. Develop a structure inside himself. That's gonna be systematic. The way I look, the way I sound, you really care about that. That's because you have SC and fear. You really care about like how you come off and the experience you give to others. That's SC inferior all day. Anything that only going to benefit me in the short term, that means you're extremely future focused and long-term minded. That's gonna be I'm gonna hit you for abstract and future focus. It goes in the realm of abstract. You can say NI, whatever the hell you want to. Looking at the best way to do things, that's a systematic approach to things. You said I focus on what I want so much that I let my needs go. So that's a big problem with NI hero. That will happen a lot because they focus on what they want, and then SI demon starts to like hit them a lot with their health and things like that over the course of time. Don't want to do that. That's why you're talking about being more balanced and taking care of that. That's awesome by you. You already know that. You talk about not your regrets come from not seizing the moment. That's because you have SE inferior, and in the moment you can get exposed. As most of the people like that. Asked about like one thing you want for the next generation. You talked about a filtration process to know what they want or what's good or bad. That's a systematic approach. Determination, independent, unorthodox. That was the things you went for. Determination hit with NI, improving my skills always. That's progression. So with that being said, you're also direct, responding, progression, abstract, TFI. That means you're an INTJ. What did you have yourself as?
Yeah, so for many years I actually picked INTJ. Yeah, and then recently I got myself typed, and I got a different response. Yeah.
You get
So I got INFJ.
That's crazy. Not even
Yeah.
close, dude. Not even close.
So yeah.
I didn't hear
Where'd you
any.
go? Did you get that from like a YouTube or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Who was it by chance? Just curious.
Yeah.
Who was it by chance, D?
Yeah. So do you, yeah, CS Joseph.
Oh, really? See, it's Joseph. That
Yes.
you.
Oh, I have a question for you. Um, do you have the need to feel like accepted and like, I guess, part of groups, or do you tend to be an
Yeah. I
outsider,
think
like stay to yourself?
I do definitely prefer to stay with myself, and I'm fine to say, yeah, okay, I'm gonna be alone. But in me, I think I do feel a bit bad, or like, oh, I'm not being accepted here, or how do I say this? Oh, this is their group. I'm an outsider, so okay, then I'll just stay by myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Will you go out of your like way to make yourself feel uncomfortable so that other people will feel accepted?
So I think I might say yes, but the problem that I'm kind of seeing now is that there's a lot of confirmation bias in a way, right? For example, if I feel convinced, oh yeah, I am an INFJ, so
Mhm.
now I'm going to see things as, oh yeah, I'm actually trying to accept people.
Mhm.
But because for longest time I was so stuck in, okay, I'm an INTJ, triple pragmatic, so on.
Mhm.
I'm supposed to be like this. Yeah, so I'm all about this, I'm all about that.
Mhm.
So sometimes I question myself, wait, am I like that? It's hard to
Mhm.
say, right? Depending on the lens by which I'm seeing. But if you ask me
As a
right now,
kid, who were you as a kid? As a kid, would you do it? As a child?
I can't honestly remember what was going through my mind as a child.
Mhm.
Uh, but I wasn't like I did like to have a so-called gang of friends,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
What gives you a sense of purpose in life? Like, where does that come from?
I think it's a combination of something to do with morality or ethics, something like principles, and then my innate drive. I just have an ideal of what I think should be, like my own reality, like what my future should be like. I have an ideal, and then I'm kind of chasing after that ideal, how it should be like, what are the specifics of that ideal.
So, I don't know, like accomplishing what you want is like that where you're going with that, or
Yes, yes, but it's kind of framed through the lens of ideals, I think. Like I have a lot, very high standards
Mhm.
for myself and everybody.
Do
I mean,
you
I didn't even realize I have it, but um, people have told me, "Wow, you have very, very high standards."
Mhm.
do you hold other people to the same standards you hold yourself?
I think I do, at least for the most part. When it comes to work, I because I see myself, putting like breaking my back for all of the things, and then when I see people are sometimes being very, just chill, bro, chill. Then I'm like, no, there's no such thing as chill.
But if you're INFJ, you should know how they feel, right? Do you feel as though
Yeah,
you understand how people feel well, or what's that for you?
I think I have I've been told I'm a bit too forgiving sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, when my friends say, let's say they don't finish their work right in a group project, And then they say, sorry, I couldn't do it. Or they just say I couldn't do it without sorry. I'm still okay, that's fine. Even though inside me it's I'm like kind of upset. Now
Mm-hmm.
this is causing a lot of issues, but I tend not to lash out at anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm so why FA Trickster kind of made sense is because I'm like, oh, I don't really care about anyone, right? But I suppose I do, but it's very, very subtle, maybe.
You say you suppose you do, but it's very
Subtle,
subtle. Yeah.
yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think I care about people, but it's just like it's like a second lining for me. So like when I go to address a situation, I'm not accounting for people's feelings. Accounting for like the best move on the board. What's the best move on the board? And sometimes I'll take the best move on the board, and then people say, "Oh my God, you know, you just steamrolled me, or you didn't process how we would feel about this." Like my brain. So it's like the first lens is just like that. Now I understand that, so I'm like kind of okay. Let me ask these motherfuckers. But my
Mm,
first lens is always the boom, put it in like boom, boom, go. And that's why I have a
So
very tough time around stupid people. Because if you're stupid, that
mm,
means I don't value your opinion, and that's dead. That means you never have a word.
mm,
so my last job there was an INFJ and I'm an
mm,
INTJ. So when we would walk into there is pharmacy, there's a handful of people in there. Like I'm there for work and I just like walk by people and don't even consider how it makes them feel to not acknowledge them. Where she would walk in and like greet everybody and be bubbly and go out
yeah,
of her way, like try to make everyone feel like they were accepted.
yeah. Yeah, because the thing is, like, I grew up, um, it could be possible that both my parents are FE users, I
Mm-hmm.
think. And so I grew up in my parents are super, like, especially my mom, she's very, like, as what you said just now, she'll be, oh, hi, like the neighbors, and how are you, greeting everything, that whole social game. But I would just be quiet there. And I think from a young age, I kind of, um always took the shy role of being behind and not really um, responding or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But at least nowadays, I tend to, smile and try to greet people more as I see that this is my role
Yeah.
or this is what I'm supposed to
Yeah.
do. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah. I get it from my brother. My brother told me I'm the closest thing he's ever met to a psychopath. So, and the reason why he says that
Yeah,
is because he says I have no empathy. Like I don't want to
yeah,
hear. I have very low sympathy and very low empathy.
yeah.
So it's just always kind of been a thing for me. Like my brother was like, you should really work on. He would say things like, your kids are gonna hate you because
Mm,
like I'm like it's kind of like my way. A lot of times it's what I see. It's
yeah,
my vision, and because I can't pick up on how you feel, I can be a slave driver.
mm,
And it's just like, oh, and then on top of that, like if you disappoint me, you can read my emotions right up off me. Like you can just
yeah,
read it. Like even if I don't want you to read them, it just comes out, and I'm just like, this sorry motherfucker.
mm,
And like my energy just changes to this sorry worthless motherfucker, or like God
yeah,
damn, I gotta do everything my fucking self, or you just a piece of shit. Like my energy just comes out like that.
yeah.
Um, so like,
I think I do resonate with that actually. That's why it made a lot of sense, INTJ, right?
yeah.
Because like in that whole batch of my degree, I don't think there's anyone as straightforward as me.
Mm-hmm.
Like like everyone, if I'm in a project, by default I end up the leader because this is what I want. Everyone's gonna follow this. There's no questioning, right? Just
Yeah.
move,
Yeah.
go. And I remember once someone cried and I was like, so how are you? Okay. Is it everything okay? Trying to control, but like I
Yeah,
can't do anything, right?
because it hit you
Just
because your
have to move.
first line is to, like I said earlier, the first line is for productivity and get things going.
Yeah.
We don't process people emotions until like we see somebody like, oh shit, this person's crying. Fuck, I gotta deal with this bullshit. You know, like that's
Yeah.
what my thing is like, fuck, I gotta deal with this person. They're fucking crying. I don't want to deal with it. But at the same time, they're kind of making me feel like a bad person. So I gotta go play this little fucking game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay, man. What do you need? Oh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Like whenever an intj like comes off, try to use fe, it just seems so Machiavellian. Like it's extremely Machiavellian. Like you can just people who
Mm.
know anything and just know it's just like super fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I try to appear nice, but like I don't have any idea how to respond to them at all. Like I don't understand why they're crying.
Then
Like
I
they're
just
just
say,
crying about their kid going to kindergarten, and I'm like, what the like she crying tears in front of me, and I just couldn't understand like what's sad about your kid going to school. So now like you were there the whole time.
like the
Mm.
only time an INTJ actually understands or NTJ understands other people's feeling is when they've been through it themselves.
Mm.
So like if they have cried on their first day to school, then they would know how that person's feeling. But if they ain't never
Mm.
cried when they went the first day of school, they're like, what the hell is this person doing? But like I said, like NTJs come out very Machiavellian when they try to use FE.
Yeah.
Like they try to use
Yeah.
it like, yo, like what the hell? It just doesn't, it's not very congruent. It's just, it's pretty pitiful.
Mm.
Dude, also CS Joseph just typed a INTJ as a ESFP, so I don't know if I can hear him anymore.
You talking about Sam Baker or some shit? Sam, what was his name? Sam
Like-
Oven? Sam Oven
like
or some shit?
completely, yeah, future
Mm.
focused and planning, and yeah, that's crazy. Anyway,
I have
but
That's his
like
magic.
you said there's no such
I
thing
did-
as chill. Also, that's TE. Just for the record,
sorry, what did you say again?
you're talking about how there's like no such thing as chilling out. Like you
Oh.
have to be
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
busy and
I
working
right.
and
I wanted to kind of ask,
Mhm.
how do we separate nurture from nature when we make an assessment of someone? How do we know this is someone's, this is them speaking,
Mhm.
their so-called their true nature, without it being, acculturated by what they think they like to be? How do we separate that nurture part that has come through time
Mhm.
with nature?
Well, there's a core you, and there's like a what they call the contextual you. So the core you is like your type, right? And then the contextual you is like kind of like nurture plus your type and things like that. But what we try to do here is we try to listen to you. We try to like because a lot of times people will even if they try to fake it, then the cognitive functions don't line up. Like if you ever see Kasim, we typed him and like his shit didn't line up. Like it's like, yo, but it's like you don't know if that guy's serious, you don't know if he's trolling. And it's like if you come in here and you're like inauthentic, then you're gonna get some bullshit, you know. But if you're true to yourself, you actually want to learn who the fuck you are, then it's a good time. It's good, you know. But if you come in here trying to play shit or whatever, then you're gonna get bad results.
also we
Yeah.
just typed a INFJ. You should like watch that video and see
Yeah.
Yeah,
see if you
the
resonate with
lady,
that,
the
because I
lady,
don't
is
think
it?
you will.
No, we got another one. We just did one just a second
Oh,
ago. I'll
okay.
probably upload it.
It was a
I'll
male.
probably
and he was
upload it
INFJ.
as soon as I finish this
Oh,
video,
okay.
so you can check it out. But he was basically talking about the group a lot and how people are self-interest and how he thinks about like the group, like people need to make sacrifices for the group.
Mm.
And I'm
And
like,
how you know? Oh yeah, how do you know when something is true or false? Did you tell me that?
Yeah,
yeah, he did say something on that.
yeah, I did.
But like, I ain't sacrificing shit. Like,
But it was if it made sense. Sorry. All right.
I ain't sacrificing a fucking thing for the group. Group kid. Well, it depends on where I'm at. It literally depends on where I'm at, and what's going on. But most of the time, I'm like super rebellious. Like I'm fucking rebellious as shit. So as soon as like the group go to like try to make me do something, like fuck these motherfuckers, I'm out. Like I don't give a fuck. I'll show my ass right there. I'm out. Like I am done. I'm not fucking with this shit. Like this is no. But then it's like if it's our group, then I'm like, fuck, man, I gotta listen to these motherfuckers. Yeah. I'm like, fuck, gotta listen to these motherfuckers.
Right.
But it hurts my soul. It hurts my soul. Huh?
So I don't know if I can I feel all that.
You said what?
So I don't know if I feel all that whole group thing that you have going on.
What you talking about? What you mean feel the whole group thing?
You with if it's your group,
if it's
about.
my group, then I gotta take it and I gotta suck it up and but that shit exhausts the shit out of me very quickly. And it's like over time my bluntness will just come out. It'll just come out. Like I can only keep the mask up for so long before it just like starts to show. And I'm just like, we'll just go to war. Like me and Thomas will like sometimes we'll just we'll just go at each other, and that'll be it. And then over time we'll just forget about it and just keep going. I don't know if he forgets about it, but I damn sure forget about it. Or like me and Shelly will bump heads on some shit and we'll just forget about it over time. I don't really take anything personal.
Yeah, I can only like hold on to anger for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, and not forget about it. It's like gone.
I have like quick temper and then it's gone.
Gone. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really.
Can I ask some about your Mongolian mindset, right? Yeah. So how do you see, let's say, in the coming years and so on, how would you like to expand your contribution to the science, let's say, or psychology?
So to me personally, I just want to make MBTI stuff more mainstream. So my goal is one day to be sitting down with Patrick David. I absolutely love Patrick David. Or maybe Arnold, if we can get to that level before he dies, and maybe have an interview with him. That'd be fucking absolutely amazing. That's more what I'm trying to go. I'm also trying to input Dario Nardi's work. He just gave me the okay to drop some of the brain scans of the subtypes and stuff like that. And I don't think anyone's really talking about that and putting that kind of value out there. And then as other people can go and see what subtype they are based off the brain imaging. That's over mine. I also want to I want to master Enneagram stuff. Enneagram is very important because that's more the nurture thing. And I don't think it has a little bit of nature, but a lot of nurture as well. Because it talks about like how you grew up as a childhood and like people respond differently based off like their childhoods and what they needed. So like somebody like myself is an 8, and I kind of hated being weak and powerless, and I've always felt that way. I felt like I talked about it in multiple videos. I felt like when I was a kid, I was like weak, trash or whatever. So then I just took this mindset that fuck this, like I'm pushing the needle from this day forward. And I took that mindset from when I was a kid to now. And that's generally what 8s do sometime in their childhood. They're sick of being pushed around, or like they're sick of being weak or whatnot, or powerless, or they feel it's like they're not measuring up, and then they flip the meter. I think Enneagram does a great job of that. So I want to combine that with Dario Nardi's work. And then I also want to get into shadow work. Fuck, where's that book at around here? There's some book around here. This INTP girl brought it to me. But it's on shadow work. So I want to get into that. But fuck, did she take that shit back? I'm gonna kill that bitch. But I want to get into that and see what they had to offer and then bring it all full circle. So but like me, I'm not trying to sell nobody no bullshit. I'm not trying to waste people's time. Just want the most specific, concise shit and leave it at that. If you find value in it, you find value in it. Ultimately with the group, I just enjoy being in a group because it pushes me as a person. It pushes the other people that have been in the group. I was talking to my buddy Christian today, and I was like, man, being in a group kind of made me probably 2 to 3 times smarter than I would have been without it. Because the simple fact is I'm not in the echo chamber. I am, like there's people like you posting things and I'm checking that out. There's people like Thomas posting things. I'm checking out that stuff out. We get in arguments sometimes and maybe they have a better point of view than me. I take on that, you know. So it's like that, all that stuff like compounds over time, and it separates you a lot from other people. I'm also able to do your TE surveys on people. Do a TE survey on like my whole, you know, the whole group, like, because I know that these people have been typed correctly. So when I ask them a question and then they respond, I know that's accurate information, and then I can go with that as well. So it's just so many different things that we're working on here. I'm pretty excited for it, and we'll see what happens.
I have four more questions for you. Just if you want to answer right quick. So how are you in social situations with strangers?
How am I with strangers?
In social situations, like with strangers.
I tend to do I don't know whether it's mirroring my parents or what, but I tend to like smile a lot. Yeah, hi, yeah, thank you, very nice. Yes, yeah, hi, thank you, very nice. That whole thing. I've always done that since I was young. Of course, I'm reserved, but if anyone comes to me, I'm going to be trying to be as polite as I can and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that too. Humanity. What would you say is the biggest problem with humanity?
I think there are a lot of lies, a lot of deceptions that we are believing. And so the more we believe these lies, the more it goes, downhill from there.
Okay. What's one of your strongest skills?
I think I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, that shit like 3 times.
Yeah, determination. Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
strength.
determination. Yeah.
Sorry. I was just reading my questions that hadn't been answered. Sorry. Okay.
No
last
problem.
one. What drives you to learn new things? Do you need a purpose or just go
I'm
learn
always
things?
curious to think about things, and like, for example, this psychology, I'm trying to piece together a lot of this, how the psychology, for example, relates to spirituality and the larger picture of life, for example. So this process of trying to analyze things is very exciting to me.
But like, do you just go learn random stuff like outside of psychology? Because that could be useful to your life.
I think I'm noticing a lot of things, like, for example, if I'm watching a movie or if I'm watching Black Mirror, for example, I'm noticing how there's a certain pattern in this that relate to something to do with, I wouldn't say necessarily, that 16 types, so this person is this type, this person is this type. But there's a kind of relationship. It's hard for me to articulate it, but I'm always noticing these patterns in different things and then adding that to what I understand. Okay, this is the larger picture. Yeah, it's slowly expanding, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't ask you this. What do you want to be remembered for?
Some form of contribution to, I think, uplift people. I think away from what I mentioned just now, the deceptions, the lies, right? To really move people away from the lies of how they live their life.
Does it bother you that other people don't think for themselves at all?
Yes, but I kind of have a understanding that, sometimes it's hard, and that's fine. For me, the important thing is also, are you willing to listen? Are you willing to understand what I have to say? Because many a times, even like now I'm talking, right? When I try to explain just now about me observing patterns, it's very hard for me to communicate that. So I'm trying my best to kind of articulate it in a way that is as common as possible, so it doesn't sound like what are you even talking about? So I'm trying to make it as common as possible. So that need to kind of make it understandable or digestible to someone else is extremely important, maybe slightly more important than are they thinking well, in a way.
Are they thinking what?
Are they thinking well? Like, are they sharp thinkers, critical thinkers? That's also important, but of course, it comes after they have kind of listened to what I have to say.
Yeah, I feel sometimes that I alienate people by correcting them all the time. Like a lot of my friends were at the gym the other day, and Kyle sent me something. Was something from a video, and I sent him back the article where that shit was like not reproducible. And I know he was punching where he was at. He was punching whatever the fuck that was. And then Jerry's like, that's the reason why I don't send your ass nothing, because like I'm like, what do you want me to do? You want me to like let you know fucking lies, or you want me to correct you? And he's like, man, I still he INFJ though, so it never works. Like me and his relationship, I don't know, it's very weird. For the simple fact that he's just, I feel like I'm always beating him over his head with like TE and TI like type shit. I'm always beating him over his head, so he kind of feel like lower. But I'm like, I don't like see it as that. I see it as like, yo, just do this shit. Like, just do this. And then, but he kind of wants you to put some FE on it. And I'm just like, bro, just do this, bro. Why are you doing that? Like, and then like, if I have to tell you something twice, then it's a different side of me that comes up. Like, it's like, God damn, motherfucker, you stupid or something. Like, it's just like something like that. Like, God damn, what the fuck? It's just like that side start coming out. Like the first time I tell you something, it's like very chill, very nice. But if I have to tell you something like twice or three times, it's like, oh goddamn, motherfucker, like goddamn, you killing me. Like, like I'm surrounded with idiots is what I was like, stuff like that. Like, and it's kind of like indicative of low FE, because somebody with high FE would probably never say something like that. I don't know if Shelly says it.
I didn't. I was off in a sub thought of.
Yeah, you were. I'm just saying, like, when you're around like stupid people and you correct them, sometimes like I can correct somebody nice the first time, but if I have to do it again, it's like a different side of me comes like, God damn, I'm surrounded with goddamn idiots. Like that's what's going on in my head.
I won't do that with strangers.
You won't
with my, yeah, I won't. Nope.
I'd be like, I'm pretty bad.
Yeah, I tend to avoid confrontation.
Yeah, but we're different. I'm 8, you're 6.
Yeah.
Eight's love, like 8's ain't scared. Like our energy just like the whole.
Except for at home, I don't avoid it here.
You say what?
I said except for at home, I don't really avoid it here. I mean, I try to like go and use logic and reason to get compliance, but if that doesn't work, then I become a little bit unfriendly.
A little bit. I think you're lying. You seem to be good at embellishings, Shelly. Trying to make yourself look good for the internet, okay? Trying to keep your reputation up. It's okay. I know the truth. And you got anything else you want to say, man? Any other thing?
I think just to kind of wrap up, I really appreciate you offering this free typing service, right?
Yeah, no problem, man.
And it's interesting that you've decided to kind of you have this Facebook group, right? This self-growth. I think it's something relevant for us. I think what I might say is that somehow the complexity of our nature, I felt kind of required us to kind of expand the understanding from Jung, right? Because Jung had his own point of view. Okay, there's these 8 cognitive senses and things like that, but then somehow how it relates to how we operate today in modern times, the words we use, right? For example, sympathy versus empathy. But then even then, what is Enneagram, right? What are all these different systems? And I feel it's very necessary for a system to kind of somehow analyze every single element they're using. For example, if they are incorporating Myers-Briggs with Enneagram, we're trying to now see whether the two structures are actually compatible with each other, or somehow they are incompatible, right? Maybe because of the foundations are overlapping, or there's weeds growing between them. So moving forward, I really like to see where the science grows, how we unpack, how we really crush through all the discrepancies, right, between these different elements of what makes us human, right? Beyond the stereotypes.
Yeah. I think for me personally, I think it all goes with us. I see what you're trying to say. You're basically saying like find the common line with NI between all of the systems. That's what you're saying, right? Find the common line, like what's the pattern between all of them? Between like Enneagram, some people would say astrology when you get into like the rising and all that shit. And then you have MBTI stuff, like what's the common patterns and do they all link, and like how can they benefit humanity? Is that what you're going after?
Yeah. Also, if it's logically consistent, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it can be like, it might seem like it's all connecting, but there's actually underlying structures that are not compatible, right? On the surface, yeah, it makes sense. But then I kind of also start to come up with doubts, right? So it's nice to kind of maybe, always be a skeptic of your own work, right?
Yeah.
And I really like that you're putting in effort. Right? You're really putting in
Enneagram 6.
effort to.
Enneagram 6 is the skeptic, which is usually what indicative of INTJs and INFJs, generally speaking. That's where you're gonna find the skeptics, the skeptic about everything. Enneagram 6, Shelley's Enneagram 6, most INTJs are. But yeah, there's things that you see that are totally different. Like you can explain the difference between an Enneagram 6 INTJ and an Enneagram 4, the difference in like who they are and what it is, because you'll see more of the predictive NI with the 6s. In the 4s, you'll see like kind of willpower NI, and they're not the same. They're not the same. They have this willpower that they'll go get through anything, but the 6s kind of use predictive, like, okay, I can predict this and this and this, and then I'll get this, and this is what I want. But it's from a predictive perspective. And they're the type to go in a bank and get the money and get out. But then you have the 4s who will go out, they'll get the money, but they'll come back with one arm missing, They still got what they want, but they came back kind of fucked up. So you can kind of, that's what I've noticed. I've noticed there's a difference. There's the willpower NI, and there is the predictive NI. And it's a noticeable difference. Their usual stereotypical INTJs generally have the predictive NI, and the willpower NI kind of gets overlapped. People don't even see them as INTJs. Yeah, man, it was a pleasure, man. I got to get some food. But
Thank you
if
so
you have
much.
any questions or anything, man, just go ahead and message me. I'm gonna post it probably today or tomorrow, and you can check it out. I gotta post the INFJ one, so you can check that one out as well. Make sure. But it's been an absolute pleasure, man, and I hope to see you in the group. Take it easy.
All the best.